What's up, guys? Welcome back. Christmas is right around the corner and prime rib is a staple on a Christmas dinner table. Today I'll be showing you my recipe, but before we do that, please take a quick second to subscribe to the channel. Make sure to hit that bell and enable notifications as well. Alright, take your cholesterol medicine and meet me in the kitchen. We're about to make it happen. Here I have a 5-pound bone-in ribeye roast. You can get these at most of your butchers or grocery stores, particularly around the holidays. This one is, like I said, about 5 pounds, maybe 5 1/4. It has 2 bones in it. As a rule of thumb, 1 bone feeds about 2 people, depending on who's eating and how hungry you guys are. Obviously, you have the ribeye cap and the eye of ribeye. Think of this as just one really big ribeye. So as I said, this one is 5 pounds, so don't be alarmed at the amount of salt that we're gonna add to this because you do have to season it adequately. You want to bring this out of your refrigerator about 2 hours before you cook it so it gets up to room temperature. That's very important. The meat needs to be at room temperature so that it cooks evenly for you. And that gives us plenty of time to go ahead and season our roast, allow that salt to really penetrate the meat, and just add tons of flavor to this delicious prime rib that we're making today. So make sure you season all sides. We're going with just salt right now. I'm using a flaky kosher salt. Sea salt will work as well. And just season all sides and set that aside, allow it to come up to room temperature. We'll season it with a few more flavors, here in a minute. But now we're gonna start on our compound butter. So we have 1 stick of room temperature butter. Make sure that it's at room temperature, it makes it so much easier to work with. We also have some fresh herbs here. So this is rosemary. We're gonna pluck the leaves off of the rosemary and the thyme, break out our knife and dice that up. If you don't have access to fresh herbs or you can't find fresh herbs, you can always use dried, no big deal there. But if you can find fresh, then fresh is always best, so give that a try. So there we have our rosemary. Here's a little bit of thyme, probably about 2 tablespoons or so after you dice it up. You want to dice it up nice and fine, as you see me doing right here. And then we're going to add that to our mixing bowl with the room temperature butter. You can use fresh garlic here or, minced garlic, garlic paste. Whatever you can find will work. And we're also going to use some herbs de Provence. So there's our 1 stick of room temperature butter, our fresh herbs, that garlic paste we talked about a tablespoon or 2 of that, depending on how much you like garlic. Some of those dried herbs. As always, guys, the specific measurements and ingredients for this recipe can be found in the description box below, so make sure you check that out. And then we're going to take our rubber spatula and just fold everything in together. This is going to make a delicious compound butter that we're going to slather onto our prime rib and just impart so much flavor into that roast. Next, these are the ingredients that are going to go into the roasting pan that we're going to use for our prime rib. We're going to chop 1 onion, as you see me doing right here. Just cut it in half. You don't have to do anything special. We're also going to use some carrots, some celery, some more fresh herbs, and a little bit of red wine. I suggest you guys invest in one of these roasting racks if you haven't already. They definitely come in handy and they last a long time. But they do have, disposable versions of this at the grocery store. You can get you a foil version and just put a little rack in there and you'll be just as good. So lay out the veggies. We're going in with that red wine and then about 1 quart of beef stock. This mixture is going to do 2 things. 1, it's going to add tons of aromatics, which are going to, add some flavor to your roast and help it steam a bit as it cooks. And then 2, we're going to use the drippings from this pan to make our au jus or our gravy that's going to go on top of the prime rib. So it's been about 2 hours. The roast is up to room temperature. Now we're going to add a little bit of onion powder and some garlic. For those of you that were concerned, that is not more salt, I promise. That's onion powder. So a little onion powder, some garlic, some fresh cracked black pepper. And then I like to add a nice light coat of my favorite barbecue rub because it adds some nice color. So that's the red seasoning you see there. I'll link to that in the description box below as well. That barbecue rub also has a little bit of smokiness to it, which is real nice. If you can't find that, you can always use like a smoked paprika or something like that, just to add some color and a little bit more flavor. Now we're taking our ribeye roast to the spa and giving it a nice compound butter massage. Look at how nice we're treating this ribeye roast. There's no way it's not going to be good. So you want to take your butter mixture and just, make a nice, even, thin layer all over the whole roast, as you see me doing right here. Just take your time. That nice room temperature butter is so easy to work with. Make sure you get the sides as well. This is like an anti-aging cream going onto the ribeye. Just look at how beautiful that looks. The butter is going to add tons of flavor. It's going to help you get it nice and brown in the oven when we sear it. Now we have it on our roasting rack. The key to cooking this is to put it in the oven at 500 degrees for 5 minutes per pound, and then turn the oven off for 2 hours. And that will get you the perfect prime rib, as you see right here. Again, guys, the specific measurements and ingredients for everything can be found in the description box below. We just went into our sauce pot with 1 tablespoon of Better Than Bouillon beef base, and then we're going to strain in that sauce from the roasting pan. Give that a nice mix. Whisk everything together. And then we're going to mix in our slurry, equal parts water and cornstarch. That's going to help thicken everything. Bring that up to a boil, and then we're going to reduce it to a simmer. Make sure you whisk constantly so you have a nice smooth au jus gravy. Once it reaches a boil, you're going to reduce your heat and just let it simmer for a bit until it looks like this. Oh man, that looks good. And here, my friends, is the finished product. You definitely want to let this rest for about 30 to 45 minutes before you slice into it. Allow those juices to redistribute. We're going to cut off that butcher's twine and then remove the bones. You can wrap the bones in foil and pop them back in the oven at like 300 degrees for a couple of hours. Let them get nice and tender. You have some beef ribs. That's a little pro tip for you. Now brace yourself for a trademark money shot. The first slice of the prime rib. Man, that looks good. Doesn't get much better than that, guys. Again, 500 degrees for 5 minutes per pound, and then turn the oven off and don't open it for 2 hours, and you have a perfectly cooked prime rib right here. If you're one of those crazy folks that likes your meat well done, then you can always use a food thermometer and allow it to cook a little bit longer. We're gonna slice this up, and I gotta try this. Little steam shot, definitely some food porn going on right here. I'm gonna cut this with a butter knife just to prove how tender it is. At least that's what I'm telling you guys. I couldn't find my steak knife, so butter knife it is, but hey, it worked. Moment of truth. Oh man, the eyebrows indicate that was surprisingly good. Came out great. I hope you guys enjoy this. Let me know if you make it. Leave me a comment. Give me a thumbs up. Thank you guys for all of your support, and Merry Christmas.